Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today I'm just doing a quick review of the Hot Wheels Track Builder Unlimited multi-lane speed box. Now this is going to be the initial site, the initial scene of the Disaster Garage downhill racing series, as I was working with a limited budget and I wanted something that had a start gate on it and that could be relatively simple and relatively small because I don't have a lot of space to budget to it either. So I feel like this is the ideal product for that, and I'll get into this and go into why. So the first thing here we've got on the front, ages 6 to 12, build and rebuild your track builder system. You can see just from these images, there's a couple of different ways you can set this up, but we'll get into that a little bit more. Now, this isn't an unboxing because this arrived yesterday when my little 19-month-old nephew was round and I couldn't begrudge him having a go on this. So it's just a review in this instance. So let's get into this. And I'm going to start this one off with a slight, very slight, and I cannot stress how little this actually matters, complaint that to open this box, you have to cut off this the cardboard around it. You have to cut open the tape on these tabs, which is fine, but I prefer it if you could just slide it off, because quite honestly, the tub looks a little bit boring like that. Now, again, I cannot stress how little of a criticism that is, how little that matters. So if we take a look at this outer card, we've got Build, Boost and Stunt, and you can see that it is compatible with other Hot Wheels sets. We've got the first start gate there, a built-in clamp to attach it to things, and we have one car, 4 adapters, 8 bits of track, and you'll have to forgive me, I don't really know how long they are. 4 sort of ending posts, I don't really know what they're called. I'm not very good at this yet. The tub itself, and the first start gate, of course. And it's interesting that they have the logos for all 3 bits. City, Action, and Track Builder is showing us that it is a track builder and it's suitable for 6 to 12. So I guess I shouldn't have been playing with it with my little 19-month-old nephew, but I digress. I've never really been a stickler for rules. So when we pop this open, okay, first of all, another very, very superficial criticism is that this hinge here was already strained like this when I received it. So that just looks to me like one day it's going to break off. And especially if you're going to buy this for your kids, that's almost certainly going to break off. The good news is that's not a huge deal as long as you can kind of keep the lid on this tub. But if for any reason you would need it to clip shut, then that is a bit of a shame. So again, I've already had this open once, so everything's just kind of chucked back inside it. So inside we have a little sort of diagram picture there. We have some build, boost and stunt options on the back of that. We have the instructions here, multi-lane speed box. Now, I wanted something that had a few lane options, but also had a start gate, and this was one of the very few options I had that was affordable, and that is why I think it's ideal for the purposes I bought it for. You can see inside we have various build modes, and it even shows you what you can sort of clamp it onto, giving you some sort of ideas of where you can put the track from. And you've got just instructions on how to set the whole thing up, and it goes all the way through to seven different ways, including, you know, buying other tracks, of how you can use this track. So that's pretty useful, I suppose. We've got the stickers here. I haven't applied those yet. I thought I'd better do that separately. Don't need a 19-month-old getting into that. We've got the car that comes with the set. Now, I didn't really pay much attention to this, so let's see what it is. It's pretty nice, actually. So it's very simple, but you've got the nice orange plastic wheels with the silver trim. Nice little decals on the side. A little bit of paint wear on that decal. The Hot Wheels decal there as well. A little orange plastic top. It is a Gazella R, copyrighted 2017. Very interesting, very cool. So yeah, again, very basic car as you usually tend to get with sets like this, but you know, it's definitely not disinteresting. You also get, oops, hold on, I'll just sort these out. You also get 4 pieces of orange track. and 4 pieces of yellow track. So obviously you can build a longer track with fewer lanes. That's absolutely something you can do, and that is a kind of build mode that they suggest. But you can also just do a 4-lane like short downhill race, which is what I'm going to be using this for most of the time, I should imagine. Then, as I say, we've got the 4 adapters to just put these together. These are actually really cool, really good quality, and I think it just goes to show that, you know, they're kind of standardized throughout the Hot Wheels sets, whereas the quality might differ from some of your higher end sets. And then we have the flags and the adapters that clip those in as well. So we've got 4 of them, and that is everything, with the underside of the box also being a feature. So as you can see here, we have the 4 sections here where you can attach the tracks to, so that you can do a 4-lane race, but you also have those options on either end so that you can run the track through here and have the fans and have these flags in these sections here, so that the car just goes through all of them. Of course, you can't really do an even race that way, that's more just for fun, but it's definitely nice to have the option. And speaking of nice to have the options, if we take a look at the start gate, one thing that I think is interesting but a little bit weird is that you have the track adapters on the other end as well. So when you've got the start gate up on this end, you can still attach tracks to it on this end. So that's a nice like option to have, like having the option of attaching something to the other end of this. But I can't see what sort of scenarios on a day-to-day basis you would really want for attaching something to the other end of the start gate. The start gate is just manual, there's no battery powers or anything in there, and as you can see, you just flick it up and down, cars go up, and that's it really. On the underside of the lid, you can see we have the clamp, which goes fairly wide and fairly far back, so you can clip that onto just about anything as long as it kind of is going to stick off for this to face downhill essentially. Now, one criticism I do have of this is that I think it is slightly too short to see with the human eye, or at least with my human eyes, who actually wins the race. Now, a lot of kids are probably just going to want to see the cars roll down, but some will probably want to actually do races. And of course, that's not really a big deal for me, for my purposes, because for DSW downhill races, I will of course be filming it, so I'll be able to see frame by frame who wins the race. Another thing I did was try and work out the physics of this. And initially I had this really big Corgi Royal Mail van that kept winning the races easily, and I thought, right, clearly weight is the key here, as you might have assumed. But then I did a race between a 71 Mustang funny car and this little Batmobile, which is a third of the size of it, and they came out at the exact same time 4 times in a row. So I really don't understand the physics of this at all, but that's okay. I'm probably going to jazz things up a bit after a while with these races anyway, and do things to maybe, you know, put a little bit more of an obstacle onto the race, etc. But yeah, we'll just have to really see what I come up with that. So as I say, I'm just going to cut over now to some footage of the track in action, and we're going to go to what I'm calling the Pieces of 8 race, because it is going to be 4 cars that I happen to have around my room at the time. So as you can see, even just from the framing of this shot, this has not been very easy to set up, but we are going to do, as I say, the first ever Pieces of 8 race, the pieces of cars that I had in my room at the time. So we're going to put the Gazella R in that comes with the set, this Batista Power Panel WWE van, the Honda CRX that was used in the first Disaster Garage unboxing, and finally one of my many fabled Model A Fords. I've went with the coupe one because it's the smallest, so it'll probably be the fairest race. So let's just do this. Simple countdown. 3, 2, 1. I think that was a power panel van myself. What do you guys reckon? What did it show on the footage? Alright. This set also has the added bonus of being something that my nephew can play with as well. You know, all he really has to do is work out putting the cars on the top and pushing this down. He seems relatively interested in watching the cars run down. I thought it might be a bit more of a hit than it was, but I definitely think, you know, he's going to have a lot of fun with this over time. And the fact that it can fill both sort of spheres of Hot Wheels for me, where I can play with my nephew and also I can do some downhill races for the YouTube channel, I think that's really, really cool. That's another good plus for it, I think. So all in all, I actually think this is a really good set. I didn't have a lot of options for the things I was looking for an initial downhill racing set. You know, you needed to be cheap, multiple lane, and preferably have a start gate. This covers all of those basics. It might be relatively short, but that gives you a relatively small track. As I say, I have very little space for this, so that's really cool. And if you're working on a budget, I think it's really, really worth it. The build quality on the materials is really good. Like, this is quite a tough box. The start gate doesn't feel like it's going to break anytime soon, especially the lid. The start gate itself is pretty firm. Of course, you got the car there, so you've got at least one thing. If your kid's just getting into Hot Wheels or something, you can, you know, they can at least play with this to begin with. You just need to buy a couple more cars maybe, and they can have hours of fun with this. I think it's a really, really good set. I don't really have any major or serious complaints about this at all. I think it's really good. I got this for $17.99 on eBay, and I think that was a great deal for what you get in the set. So if you enjoyed this, please do like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the DSW Garage playlist at the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.